Hi everyone, Dr. Andrew here from Arc of Life. Today we're going to cover a few basic exercises. In the clinic we call them basic four. So why do we call it basic four? Well, to understand why we created basic four, you have to understand the working dynamics in which we live in today's society. Ultimately, we're sitting at our desk for prolonged periods of time, and that creates a huge imbalance between the front of our muscles, which we call the anterior chain, and the back muscles, which we call the posterior chain. So imagine if you're sitting in a desk-bound posture and you're flexed over like this, slouched over for many hours. The front muscles here become very flexed and tight, whereas the back muscles here become overstretched and ultimately weaken, which contributes to the overall bad habits that have formed over the several decades. So no one is exempt, because here's the thing, all of us use iPads, laptops, desktops, and because of that, we're all suffering from this problem. So that's why we created the basic four. These exercises are so simple and they span the back of your body, basically from your neck all the way down to your buttocks. And they do two things. Number one, to build strength. Number two, to build endurance to those weakened muscles to help control and stabilize your spine and the rest of the body. All right, so we're back, and this exercise is the neck extensor or neck retraction exercise. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna rebuild the strength of your back of the neck muscles here, as well as stretch out the muscles from the side of your neck, as well as the base of your head here. Now, the side of the neck, the muscles that we're going to be stretching out are called the scalenes. The ones back here we're going to be stretching out are your suboccipital muscles. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to keep your body straight and tall. You're going to keep your head neutral, eyes looking forward. And what you want to do is to imagine your eyes going back towards the back of your head. You want to breathe in. As you breathe out, just push straight back. And you just want to feel slight tension here. You don't want to push back too far or too hard that you feel strain in the back of the neck. So all you're doing is breathing in, breathing out, and you want to hold that for a count of 3 to 5 seconds. That's one repetition. One set is 10 repetitions. And what you want to do is 5 sets of 10 throughout the day. All right, so this next exercise is called the W exercise. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on rebuilding the muscle strength and stability between the shoulder blades itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our exercise resistance band, okay? And you're going to hold your arms in a bent position, elbows close to the waist, as comfortable as possible. And what you want to do is take a breath in and breathe out and open your arms just like this. And what you're focusing on is squeezing or contracting your shoulder blades together. What that looks like from behind is this. Breathe in, breathe out. You can see the W. Breathe in, breathe out. Just like that. And two things to note here. Number one, when you're doing this exercise, do not shrug your shoulders like this, or should you open out big like this. They work different muscles and you can injure yourself, so be careful. The whole purpose of this is not to build big muscles, but to improve your functional strength and endurance. Okay? So what you want to do is 3 sets, 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, and you want to do this every other day. All right, so this next exercise is called the bird dog, and this is going to focus on your control, your coordination, and your stability of your spine and your body working as one. And it's primarily focusing on engaging your abs in conjunction with stabilizing your low back while you're moving your arms and legs. So let's get to it. So what we're going to do is get on our hands and knees. We're going to keep our head neutral and breathe in, and as you breathe out, raise one arm and then the opposite leg. And you want to hold this for 1 second, bring it back in, breathe in, breathe out, just like this. That counts as 1 repetition when you do both sides. And you want to do at least 10 to 15 repetitions, 2 to 3 sets every other day. So let's go over this once more. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And if you want to increase the difficulty, you can actually bring your hand and your knee together and come back out like that. Breathe in, breathe out. Bring it in. There you go. That counts as 1 again. So you can increase the intensity by doing that as well. It's up to you. But the most important keys to note here when you're doing this exercise is that when you're raising your arm and your opposite leg, don't over rotate the hips. And you don't want to lose your balance. So if you can't do this exercise, there's a modified version which we'll discuss in the next video. All right, so this is the modification to the bird dog. So if you can't do it on your hands and knees, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna roll up a towel, okay? Just roll up a towel, literally just roll it up. And what you wanna do is lay on the floor, place a towel here, and put your forehead on it. And what you wanna do is do the same thing, raising your arm and your leg in alternating movements. So the key thing here is to remember that when you are raising your arm, do not go past your ear height, and when you're raising your leg, don't go more than 4 to 6 inches. Okay, one more time. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And that's 1 repetition. And again, you want to repeat that 10 to 15 times, 2 to 3 sets every other day. All right, so this last exercise is called the modified clams. And the purpose of this is to improve our strength, stability, and muscle endurance of our hips. Because when we sit for long periods of time, face or not, our hips actually shut off. And what happens is that it increases the loading on our lower back, which increases the spinal compression on our disc, which is not good. All right, so what you want to do here is you want to lay on your side, and you want to make sure your back is as straight as possible. And you want to make sure your head is also in line with your spine. So you can put a cushion underneath your head to keep it in line, or you can place your hand underneath your head if you don't have a cushion. And what you want to do with this top arm is to actually stabilize your hip here by putting it right on top of the hip to keep it from over-rotating. Next, you want to make sure that the angle bend here is about 60 degrees. Best way to find out if it's 60, heel in line with the buttocks, okay? So when you fire the clamps, raise it up and down slowly, and again. And what he's doing here is activating his glute muscle here. And what you want to do is 10 to 15 repetitions, 2 to 3 sets every other day. So once you get used to it, and it becomes quite easy when you're doing 10 to 15 repetitions, 2 to 3 sets, you can actually add a resistance band around the knees to increase the intensity of it, which will allow you to feel a burn earlier, which will also increase your endurance as well. So raise it up, and you can see the resistance here, and down again, and relax. There you go. And repeat and rinse.